joining me right now, Wale Oluwade, the Chief Executive Officer at Growth Masters. Mr. Oluwade, good to see you. Welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm fine, Nancy. Good morning.
Good morning. The country's out of recession, isn't it? Where were you last Tuesday when this news broke?
I was here in Abuja.
So when the news broke, what was your reaction?
Cautious optimism. Let me put it that way. I mean, there are two perspectives to it. The president himself, President Muhammad Buhari, did try to tamper down, you know, the euphoria or the normal reaction from government officials, maybe to go to town and begin to celebrate, you know. Now, I'm not also trying to, you know, rain on the parade of these officials, but taking a cue from the president, he said he would have loved if the ordinary Nigerian, you know, would feel this exit from the recession. Secondly, even the statistician general himself, Dr. Yemi Kale, did describe it. He gave a very lengthy interview on Arise TV. That's a subsidiary of this day newspaper. And the nutshell is that it's fragile growth. That's the word he used, the phrase, fragile growth. So my take is, if I would had mine, you know, as someone who is a bit knowledgeable on economic issues, I mean, Nancy, I know your background in the university is sciences, right? So, you know, I mean, when you do statistics and stuff like that, you do have plus or minus margin of error. That's what we call it. This is 0.55%, you know. That's why I said cautious optimism, because it is well within the margin of error. It's not even 1.5. It's not even 2%.
It's not 1%.
It's not 1%. It's 0.55. That is one. Secondly, we had 5 consecutive quarters of contraction from the last quarter of 2015, the entire 2016, and, you know, the first quarter of 2017. So, second quarter 2017 is where we got this 0.55, you know, positive. Why don't we wait? As in, before we go to town and begin to celebrate, you know, why don't we wait for not just the third quarter or fourth quarter? Let's give it additional, you know, 2-3 more quarters. And that's actually where my own prescription for sustaining this push, you know, would come in.
You know, I understand where you're coming from. Yeah. And I did take it up with government officials, of course, last week.
I saw the
special advisor to the president. He came in on Friday.
I saw him. I saw him.
And I tried to take it up with him. Just like you said, it's a fragile recovery. Yeah. And I must say that the government also recognizes that it's a fragile recovery. Absolutely. But I did take it up with Dr. Dikwe last Friday in the sense that, of course, the graph is like a V, you know, like then we want to go up sharply. And I did tell him that I'm actually perturbed that I don't want it to go to a W. You understand? And he was like, okay, the government policies are there and all of that. For you to say that is the margin of error, do you think that there could be a relapse?
Absolutely, Nancy. Absolutely. This brings me to the issue of the budget, the fiscal, because what drives economic activity? You know, funding, financing, economic activity is stimulated by what government does, you know, concrete activities of the government based on policies, directions, you know, implementation, execution, and all of that. And critical, you know, of this is the fiscal, you know, plan, you know. Now, the 2017 budget was 7.44 trillion. In dollar terms, that's 25 billion. I mean, I'm sure you know. If you compare Nigeria's budget with our peers, and I'm not even sure if we could call them peers in terms of population size, you know, purely. Nigeria is 186 thereabout, let's even say 170 million. Now, South Africa is 55.9 million people. The South African budget for 2017 is 133 billion US dollars, compared to Nigeria's 25 billion US dollars. In simple terms, because when economists come or knowledgeable like us come and speak on television, we speak above the head of most Nigerians. Even the president did say that, you know, that economists come and speak to him, they speak above his head. And that's very true. Let me break this down, what that means. A man, you know, who is a civil servant, but is on 18,000 naira minimum wage, but he has 10 children, and they are grown-ups. Maybe the last one is in primary or secondary school. But he is employed, and is on 18,000 minimum wage. Now, there is this other man who has just 2 kids, and is a top executive in one of these big oil companies. earning maybe 2 million naira per month, Nancy, you know that the quality of life of these two households are going to be markedly different. So if South Africa with a population of 55, let's say 56 million,